Good morning, everybody. It's me, San Martin, and I am on the scene. Well, I'm currently here at the Prescott Executive Studios, but I have somebody that I want you to be meeting because you probably need it. I know I need it. So with that being said, let's get it started. And it goes like this. All right, guys. So as you guys maybe haven't seen or are going to learn today is that I've been wanting to meet a lot of people from the community. So if you're a community member that wants to get your name out or want to get interviewed by me, please message me at info@theprescotttimes.com or just go ahead and text me at 928-533-5104. And let me put it on the screen so you guys don't mess up. Text me. Let me know that you guys want to be on the morning show, and then we'll get you guys on there. But what it's all about is learning about people that are in our community and people are doing things for our community. And a lot of people reached out to me, so we're going to start it. And we're going to start off with you, my friend. So tell everybody who you are and what makes you famous.
Yeah, thank you so much, San Martin. My name is David Edmisten. I'm a certified financial planner. I work here locally in the Prescott area, running my firm Next Phase Financial Planning. And we specialize in helping people who are in their 50s and 60s to plan for a confident retirement. We do really three things for people. We help them save on taxes in retirement, help them create a reliable income stream, and help them adjust their investments to reduce risk and increase their returns.
That's so crazy. Okay, so, I mean, in most cases, we are going to get to know you personally. And this might be a little bit off the whole beaten path, but everybody loves the business in general. But in Prescott, I think everybody deserves to know who the person is.
Sure.
How did you get into this specific business?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I've been a financial advisor for 17 years as of this month. And it really started with two things. In a previous industry, I used to do insurance marketing. And I was in a role where we had an investment arm that had some bad results in the 2001 recession. Mm-hmm. And I had to deliver that news to our clients. I wasn't actually managing the investments, but I had to deliver bad investment news to our clients. And during that period of time, I actually retained almost 100% of our clients and increased our revenue. So I kind of thought to myself, if I can deliver bad investment news and keep clients, maybe I should think about this for a living.
There we go.
And then the second thing was my wife and I went through a biblical financial study at our church back in California when we lived there, and talked a lot about how God's word has a lot to say about how you manage your finances. And there's some very smart and practical wisdom that you can take from that.
Some simple stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it was the combination of those two things that I said, I can really help people. And that's what I love about what I do, is it's a way to meet people with expertise and with help that they don't have themselves, but that's going to really make an impact on their lives. And so that motivated me to get in this career.
Well, this is when people find their career and want to actually do something for the communities in its entirety. I mean, you find your niche and you just want to keep going. But how did numbers and finances want to be a part of your world? Have you always been like an interested person into this scene, or what happened?
Yeah, in school, I was really good at math, growing up, going through high school and college. And I've also been into communication. I think the biggest thing with advising is it's a lot about communication more than even the numbers. Like, you have to know the numbers, you have to be technically sound. But what gets lost for a lot of people is clear communication. I've had a lot of my clients tell me, you're the first person to explain this to me in a way that I can understand.
Yeah.
And so I have an affinity for numbers and finance and how the investment markets work. I'm personally interested in that for myself, but I also have a little bit of a teaching gift. And so I think that's really been beneficial, where I can take things and take complicated things like the markets and inflation and retirement planning and explain it to somebody where they have an action step where they can go, okay, I know what to do now.
Mm-hmm. So when you talk about, these special gifts that you have by liking math, I don't know how many people say I like math. I mean, it's factual, and you have to be prepared for the future. How are you preparing everybody for the future in this current market that we live in right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the biggest thing, inflation has really surprised a lot of people. It's gone up so much. So the price of everything we're paying for is a lot higher. And I mean, if you've been to the gas pump, you know that. That also means that if you have bonds, they've gone down. If you have stocks, they're under pressure. It's a really hard environment for a lot of people because the things that were working really well and kind of easy for the last few years, costs were low, mortgages were low, investment markets were doing well, that's kind of flipped. And so there's a structure to how you put together your investments to help you have some cash that's ready for today, some income that's ready for tomorrow, and then some growth that's ready for the future. And I think a lot of people get caught up into like, well, what should I invest in now? Like the market's doing this, what should I invest in now? But the answer isn't like find the best investment today, because that's if I could do that, I wouldn't need to have clients, right? We could all just pick that investment and roll with it. So it's more about having that structure of how do you have, today's money, tomorrow's money, the future money, and do that in an intelligent manner. And then having some experience to know, okay, how are you going to combat inflation and higher prices? For a lot of people, that means having some more growth, but not to the point where you can't pay for today's bills, if that makes sense.
It does, because I mean, once again, you hit it right on the nose. Like nothing is the same as it is today, tomorrow, or yesterday.
Right.
And so it's always like a constant challenge on where do you invest your money? Where do you put your assets in, and try to make it collective. So when you do end up retiring and you do end up getting to that point where you just don't want to work no more, what are you going to do? And how are you going to go ahead and fix that? Fix that little income portion of your life. There was this one time, there was a conversation about saying what you do today will affect you tomorrow, and today's investment will affect your tomorrow. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing or whatnot when I see elderly people working inside of grocery stores or whatnot, but I do question why are they working? And one of the things that I come to find out is that sometimes people just want interaction.
Yeah.
But then sometimes people's retirement is not paying for today's needs. So with that being something that is said, what can somebody do today that will help them for tomorrow?
Yeah.
And just right off the top of your head, I know everybody's not the same.
No, absolutely. And I think, for one thing, like everybody's situation is different, but there's a couple key components, right? So if you're anywhere within 5 years or so of thinking about retirement, you want to think about having about a year's worth of your spending set aside in cash. And most people think investments, they think stocks, they don't think about cash. Cash is kind of boring. But what that does is if you have a year's worth of your spending already set aside in like a savings account, you can retire and don't have to worry if the market crashes the day you retire, because you've already set aside a year's worth of your spending and it's secure, right? So that's one thing. The other thing, if you're a little bit further down the road, is to make sure that you're going to have things that provide income and growth. And so just taking the time to do some research and education on your own or work with a planner, because the proportions are different for each person. But if I hit retirement and I have Social Security and maybe I have some income investment and now I'm getting, a good portion of my monthly spending needs from income, then I don't necessarily have to have a lot of other income from work, right? And if I don't have that income or I don't have cash, then I'm just relying on stocks, and maybe stocks are down. And now I'm like, well, how do I retire? So there's some math there. I think you also said something that's really important is the engagement. One thing that I think our firm does that might be a bit different from other firms, we spend a lot of time talking to our clients about their lifestyle, because studies have shown satisfaction in retirement is driven a lot more by having purpose and healthy relationships than even from a sound financial background. So it's really important for people who are coming into retirement to not just think, oh, I'm tired of this job, but what am I going to do to have a role, to have an impact, to have connection with people? And sometimes that gets missed. And I see it two ways. Some people get in retirement, they don't have the finances in order, their life's out of whack. But sometimes they have the finances and then they're like, I don't know what to do with myself. And then they're unhappy because they haven't planned the lifestyle aspects as well.
And this is something that a lot of people don't even think about. The other day I was having a conversation in regards to what was it? The conversational piece was, do you have life insurance? And I'm like, great question, and I'm not getting any younger, just like any of you guys out there.
Sure.
Every day is another day off of your lifespan. Just FYI, you're not going backwards, you're going forward.
Sure.
So what do you think about these? Here's some questions. Let me go ahead and I put up his website in order for you guys to kind of like see what's going on in just in this in general. Our process. our no pressure process for your retirement planning. If you are in your 50s or 60s and close to retirement or recently retired, or no pressure process will help you answer those critical questions. Number one, have I saved enough to retire and not run out of money? You tapped on that. Am I paying too much taxes? Good question. And it's kind of crazy when my father was getting to like he was retired, he wasn't doing nothing, and my sister was like, we got to go do his taxes, and I was like, all right, cool, but they're making him pay more taxes, and it's just like, what can he do? What can you do to go ahead and alleviate that stress in general? Are my investments set up correctly for retirement? Have I made the correct plans for Social Security or employees' benefits and healthcare? I mean, these are all questions that a lot of people do not ask. And when do you think is the right time to start asking all these questions? I know you put 50s and 60s on there, but can you do it even younger?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, for our group, we really find that late 50s, early 60s is critical, because if you're going to retire before you hit Medicare, then you've got to think about, well, how am I covering healthcare? I leave my company, I don't have a health plan, I'm not qualified for Medicare. So there's kind of a critical, different set of questions for people in that age bracket. But thinking about all these aspects, where's my income going to come from? Are my investments set up correctly? Do I have healthcare, which is a big expense, covered? Have I thought about taxes? You can ask those at any age. The answers might be different, right? If you have an employer health plan and you're still working, well, great. Your healthcare is covered from your group plan. You don't have as many dynamics around that. But thinking about, when am I going to retire? How am I going to have income? How am I going to meet my needs? Do I need to make changes? And taxes is a big one too. There's a lot of taxes that come in retirement. If you saved your whole life in a 401k, every single dollar you take out of that is going to be taxed when it comes out, right? And so people have this misnomer that I'm going to be making my big income while I'm working, then I'm going to retire, my income is going to be smaller. That's not always the case.
Yep.
And it takes some proactive planning to think ahead and project out and say, okay, when are the years when my income is going to be high? When's it going to be low? When's it going to be high again? Are there things you can do to help spread that task risk over time? I think it's healthy for anybody to be thinking about their finances, because we're all going to get there. Like you said, we're all going to get to retirement at an age where we either can't or don't want to work. We're all going to pass away at some point. So there's planning ahead, and the sooner you do it, the easier it becomes.
Wow. So these are the things that we are trying to do for you guys out there in the community. And you guys are more than welcome to ask any questions if you have any questions. I see a few of you online, and you probably will be watching this later on down the road. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to look at the bottom, and that's how you get in contact with him. And in all reality, just reach out to us, and we'll try to give you the connection. But at the same time, today is a good day to start preparing for your future, just like it was the day that you were born. It is what it is. Parents actually set you up for either disaster or success. And sometimes, for me, it wasn't a successful moment, but my dad did give me one thing. He gave me a work ethic that I know for a fact that I'm utilizing to today, but he did not set me up for a future for tomorrow. And that's one of those things that I'm sitting here like I'm once again getting older, and I'm like, what am I going to do in my life? So this is a great opportunity to go ahead and get connected. How do you actually take in any kind of like new clients or what it may be? I know there's a few things on your website, and once again, you guys can go to his website to go ahead and answer a few questions. But just briefly, how does the conversation go? What is the first couple questions that you will ask somebody?
Yeah. So if anybody's interested in connecting with me, our website, www.nextphasefp.com, there's a contact us that you can just shoot if you just have a basic question. You can schedule a call. The process that you talked about that we use, we do an initial complimentary 20-minute phone call with anybody that's considering our services. And in that call, I'm mostly trying to find out what are the critical questions that somebody's grappling with. We want to provide an answer, even if somebody doesn't hire us to be their advisor, because we want to provide value and help people. And in that first call, we're basically getting to understand what somebody's needs are and if we're the right advisor to help them, and share just a little bit about our costs and how we work to make sure it's a good fit. As we move forward, we would then go to an hour-long meeting where we really dive into somebody's finances, their hopes, their goals, their resources, their concerns. That first meeting is pretty much all focused on the prospective client. I'm not analyzing or giving a lot of answers. I'm trying to really understand someone's situation and really get them to share as much as they can to give us a chance to help them. And from there, we'll take a couple of weeks and really crunch in. We'll get financial statements and then do an analysis, a financial planning analysis, where we'll be able to say to somebody, Here's what you're trying to accomplish from what you've told us in a really clear manner. Sometimes people need more clarity about their goals. Then we'll say, we've looked at your situation. Here's what we see: good things, bad things, challenges, opportunities, right? And then sometimes people have opportunities that they haven't uncovered because they're not looking through that professional lens.
Yep.
And then from there, we'll say, here's some things you could do. And you can either hire us to help you do it, or if not, if there's a better fit, we'll help you find that other advisor. Or if you want to just go take that advice and do it on your own, great. But we really try to make sure that anybody that contacts us understands where they stand, what questions they need addressed, and where they can go from there.
Yeah. So once again, our opportunity today is to introduce you to good people that are working in our community. So this is why the whole community has been established. And if you guys want to know more about this man's journey, and he wants to know more about your journey and how he can help you, please reach out to him. And this is how you do it: 928-237-4450, nextphasefp.com. Reach out to him, let him know that you're around. Do you have any final words to say to the awesome people that are going to be watching this?
Well, thank you, Sam. I just appreciate everybody in the community. My wife and I actually moved here a year and a half ago from Georgia, so we're still fairly new in the area. Absolutely love it here. People are great. The atmosphere, the amount of things you can do out in the community to be active is fantastic. Definitely, if you're thinking about your finances, reach out. It's better to get help and ask some questions than to put it off. Anything you put off is going to, rear up more problems later.
Well, I appreciate you coming in and also reaching out. And once again, if you guys want to go ahead and be a part of this conversation, let me know. I would love to go ahead and interview you, and you guys can do it right here in the comforts of our studio, or I could possibly come down to you. But technically, I'm here for you guys. And if you guys want to be a part of it, just reach out to us at 928-533-5104 or info@theprescotttimes.com. And I see you, Annie. And yes, you will be on my show. I'll get you on here as soon as possible. With that being said, I'm out of here because we got things to do. He has to go crunch some numbers for somebody. I'm pretty sure it's going to be for me later. But anyways, peace, love, and happiness. Let it not be war. And remember, love always wins. We'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.